YouTube, it's Urgo, and we're with Paul and Alex. We're downtown Raleigh. What was this thing called? East Coast ECGC,
East Coast Gaming Conference.
Yeah. So we're here to learn about all sorts of gaming, virtual reality, and there's people here with virtual reality headsets and the gloves that you put on your head. Yeah. So we're gonna have some fun.
Driving it.
Yeah.
My name is Steve. I work at Valve, and I get the honor of being able to talk to Mr. Mike Epps about all things VR. And maybe you'd like to go and talk about yourself for a minute, maybe about an hour, so don't ask questions.
That's a brilliant intro. Thanks so much, Steve.
You got it.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for taking the time. So I'm Mike Epps. I've been in VR since '91, I guess, something like that. And I got out of it when it stopped being cool, and then made video games for a while. And I guess now I'm back in VR more. I did my dissertation on basically optimizing large-scale virtual reality, and I guess my master's was on optimizing stereoscopic displays. And then I threw away all that because VR crashed, and it crashed and burned in a huge way. It was nothing like Johnny Mnemonic or Disclosure or Lawnmower Man or all the movies that we were promised was what VR was going to be like. And I spent about 10 to 12 years running Epic Games, which is a big tech company in the area. But I think my biggest fear was that Ready Player One, the movie, was going to come out, and it was going to be awesome. Everybody was going to say, that's what I want. I can't wait to put on my head mount, and then it was going to be nothing like that at all.
But you mentioned VR in the 90s, but somehow, like this time around, it feels different, right? It feels a little more sticky. It feels more present. And why do you think that is? Is it just because there's better graphics? Is it just the technology's a little bit better? Is that all there is to it?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, back in the 90s, at the progenitor to GameStop, electronics boutique, I was working there as a teenager in high school, and we were selling a VR headset. Right, it was the virtual IO, it was a couple $100. My dentist had one, so you could wear it at the dentist and watch movies. You know, they use it as a shut out the world, so that when you're carving your teeth, you're not, I don't know, for kids and all that. It was great. So we had virtual reality, and we had it in a commercial way back in the 90s, and then, like you say, it kind of exploded. There's a couple things that are different. I mean, the biggest, most obvious one is that I've got the sum total of human knowledge available in my pocket, and it's also able to render VR. That was a really big deal. My cheap VR machine was $50,000 under my desk in 1996, and our nice one was $1.5 million. That was the one that we shared. Even when we were doing really crappy PC-based VR with graphics cards, you know, we had three $5,000 machines in the office next to mine. I had a cave in 1994, super cool, 3 walls, projectors, the whole thing. We were running Unreal Tournament, in fact. I guess that was actually like 99 when we were running Unreal Tournament on it. But obviously that wasn't going to go mass market when you needed a silicon graphics reality engine to be able to draw. I think another thing is we're all really comfortable in 3D worlds. The idea of taking my mom and putting a headset on her now and having her be afraid to step off the edge of the cliff in our Vive, it's not so weird because in the 90s she'd never been in any 3D world whatsoever, other than maybe watching a movie that had some 3D in it. But now Farmville is an orthographic view of a 3D space, right? I mean, 100% of the US population probably has been in a 3D world at some time, been immersed in one. So it's not such a leap to go from I've played Farmville or I've played Halo to I put on a VR headset. So I think that's big. And then I think one of the weird things about VR acceptance is, well, it's so socially isolating, right? To put on your headset and just ignore the rest of the world. It's actually a problem for, I've got 2 little kids and I can't do VR until they're asleep, and then someone else has to watch the monitor because I can't be anywhere but in that world. But I think we're really comfortable with being socially isolated in a way that we weren't 20 years ago, right? We all walk around like this now. You can be sitting, we were joking, we were having breakfast this morning, and we could both be on our phones talking to someone else, and no one would think that was weird, right? But that's something you couldn't do in 1994 at all. So we're comfortable being isolated with each other even when we're sort of together. I can be on my phone playing a game while my wife is watching television and we are sort of together. If I had a VR headset, it's another leap of immersion and distance, but it's not that crazy. Where if you were to do that during dinner in the 60s, oh gosh, I guess that Wally the Beaver gets beaten by his mom. I'm not sure what happens, but it's not a pretty picture. And now it's not so crazy because he's been on his iPad since age 2 during dinner anyway. I want my kids to be able to grow up with their cousins, but their cousins live in a different country. And that's not crazy. It's not crazy in the least, right? We make phone calls, now we're doing video calls, we'll have 360 videos, and then we'll have 360 videos we're sharing in, and then we'll have 360 teleimmersion. That's not that crazy at all. It's been a slow development process. I was working on VR teleimmersion in 1995, and we had something-ish. But now I expect to have that consumer grade within the next 3 years. So it's a massive shift to this society goes away, and we're spending our time on home.
So like in 5 years, say, do you think that rather than like Skyping in to do a conference call, people are just going to go like, throw on their headset, sit down, and they'll be in a kind of virtual conference room where they'll be hanging out talking?
I'm going to say 3.5 years, right? Yeah, sure. And I'll take that bet right now and just not come back.
Right.
If
that's the case.
I'll move from Raleigh if I have to. Yeah, because I think that's a necessary step on the way towards always-on teleconferencing, right? Simple, always-on virtual teleconferencing. So we have to be able to do it for an hour. Hell, right now I can't even do a 3-way call on my iPhone without something going wrong, but give it 3.5 years. You're going to have some sort of immersive display tech built in the computer you're using, and it's just assumed. Like you'll have a mobile site, a desktop site, and an immersive site for your website, right? That kind of thing. So I don't think you talk about it in the same way you don't talk about, we're going to have mouse and keyboard interfaces in computers in 5 years. When's the last time you heard that phrase other than from an angry console player?
So we just watched the presentation in here, and one of the things they talked about is how right now, there's desktop and mobile for everything, but in a couple of years, everything's going to need a VR component also. So, Paul, you going to make Social Blade VR?
Oh yeah, sure.
Look at the stats.
The immersive experience.
Look, there's stats.
It's there, it's there, it's there, it's there. It's amazing.
You're doing really well. You can't even see yourself. I'm up there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm a 33-year veteran of game development. I was lucky enough to work on games like these, many of which are astonishingly still for sale. And yeah, Deus, you can still buy System Shock on Steam, which is just astonishing to me. You can still buy Toon, I recommend, no, anyway. I got to write choose-your-own-adventure books and novels and comic books. Like I said, in 2004, I founded Junction Point, a startup studio where we were working on an epic fantasy role-playing game called Sleeping Giants. Along came Disney, where over 7 years I got to make 2 games featuring Mickey Mouse, which was pretty cool. I want to hear things like this. This is a true story. Shortly after we shipped Deus Ex, I was at a conference like this, and I did something I never do. Do not ask me to go out for a drink with you, okay? But for some reason, I said yes, I don't know why. And so I'm in a bar with a bunch of crazed Deus Ex fans. And one of them, a drunk guy, sits down, a drunk fan, sits down next to me and says, "How could you make that right-wing piece of crap?" And before I could answer, another guy walked up, also drunk. "Right-wing piece of crap. It was left-wing propaganda from start to finish." And here's the power of what I'm talking about. They were both right because of the way they had played. And I got up and walked away and left them arguing.
His markers and then bouncing back to the cameras. So what'll happen, you see how sometimes the lines pop in and out, that's just occlusion. Yeah, so it's getting blocked.
What are you doing, Paul?
Isn't that fun? And there's like a little red ball.
There's a ball you play with. Most people miss the ball.
Yeah, I got there on there and I was like,
I'll be good at it. It's people like it so much.
Alright, this angle's more funny because you don't see what he's doing. He's
Oh,
just...
yeah. But, yeah, I'm going to be a little closer to the ball. So.
So, way to interrupt my vlog. So we're just leaving the game conference here. What do you guys think?
It was pretty cool.
I liked it.
I want to try the bullet train still.
There was a line for, what was it? It was a
Bullet train,
Bullet Train, but who makes it?
Unreal demo.
It was with the
From
Unreal.
Epic.
With Epic, okay, and they had some of the beta versions of the Oculus Touch. I forget the headset. Whatever the paddles are that Oculus is releasing. But there was a hour-plus line that we had to wait in, so we decided to walk around instead and check out some other things.
There was a cool indie game developer who had this drawing.
Oh, yeah, that was-
Yeah,
three-dimensional drawing.
we got
thing.
some of that in
Oh, you
there,
said, take a look at that. That's cool.
Yeah, but
Augmented reality.
yeah. Overall, I think it was cool. I'm glad we went to this. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect so much since I definitely use a lot of this VR technology, but I haven't really done any development with it. So didn't know how much we'd get out of the conference, but it was a lot of fun, I thought. No. Any final words, you guys?
It was cool. I'm coming back tomorrow. Be there or be square.
No final words with Alex. All right, guys, we're going into the parking garage here, so thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting, liking, and subscribing, and I'll see you again next even day. Take care.